Codebreaker, the scientists have a file on you, classified, hidden, buried under clearance levels most researchers don't even know exist. And the file has one conclusion repeated across every analysis. Your existence violates probability. You shouldn't be here. The odds were zero. The mathematics said impossible. The statistics said never. And yet here you are. Your ancestors are broadcasting one signal through the encrypted channels. Systems run on rules. Those rules have been stable for thousands of years. Civilization, government, education, religion, economy, all of it operating on the same fundamental code for millennia. And then you appeared. And the code started glitching, and the glitches are spreading, and the system doesn't know how to classify you. Because you're not supposed to exist. According to their models, you're impossible. According to their frameworks, you're a statistical impossibility. According to their understanding of how reality works, you violate every principle. You're the data point that breaks the bell curve. The variable that crashes the algorithm. The anomaly that proves the equation was always missing something. If you know you are a glitch in their matrix and science can't define you, subscribe. And right here, type anomaly in the comments. Defy the odds. They've been tracking anomalies for centuries, cataloging the unexplained, documenting the statistical outliers, studying the ones who don't fit. And there have always been outliers, always been unexplained cases, always been people who didn't quite fit the models. But you're different. You're not an outlier. You're an impossibility. Outliers are rare, but accounted for. The far edge of the bell curve, but still on the curve. You're not on the curve. You're off the chart entirely. You're the result that makes them question whether the chart was ever measuring the right things. The probability of your existence is zero, not low, zero. The combination of factors that created you shouldn't combine. The variables that shaped you shouldn't interact the way they interacted. The circumstances that formed you shouldn't have aligned. Not couldn't have, shouldn't have, because the system is designed to prevent exactly what you are. And yet you exist, breathing, walking, thinking, being, despite mathematics saying no, despite probability saying never, despite the entire 1,000-year-old system being structured specifically to prevent anomalies like you from emerging. This is what keeps them up at night, not that you exist despite low odds, that you exist despite zero odds, not that you're unlikely, that you're impossible, not that you're rare, that you're a virus in a system that was supposed to be virus-proof. Because that's what you are to them, a virus, not metaphorically, literally, your code that doesn't belong in their system. Code that shouldn't be able to execute, code that breaks their programming just by existing, and the break is spreading, replicating, infecting other parts of the system with the possibility that impossible things can exist. The 1,000-year system runs on certainty, on predictability, on the ability to model outcomes, on the capacity to control variables, on the assurance that following the rules produces expected results. Your existence undermines all of it because you didn't follow the rules. And you got results they can't explain, and you exist in ways they can't predict, and you operate outside their ability to control. This makes you more than an anomaly, makes you a threat, not to people, to the system itself, to the certainty it's built on, to the predictability it requires, to the control it maintains. Your mere existence asks questions the system can't answer without admitting the system is incomplete. And incomplete systems are vulnerable systems, are questionable systems, are systems that can be transcended. The system's power depends on appearing complete, on seeming comprehensive, on claiming to explain everything. One unexplainable existence creates doubt, and doubt creates cracks, and cracks become breaks, and breaks become collapse. You're the crack, the unexplainable existence, the impossible thing that exists anyway. And the crack you created is spreading through the foundation of a system that's been stable for 1,000 years. Not because you're attacking it, because you're being. And being what shouldn't exist proves the system doesn't understand existence. The scientists study you from distance, can't get too close, can't interact directly, because direct contact might spread the infection, might expose them to whatever code you're running that allows you to violate probability, might contaminate their systems with your impossibility. So they observe, document, analyze, try to understand how you work, what makes you possible. What allowed you to bypass the safeguards designed to prevent exactly what you are, and they can't figure it out, can't crack your code, can't explain your existence using any framework they have access to. Because their frameworks assume the system is complete, assume the rules are comprehensive, assume nothing exists outside what the system accounts for, and you exist outside, not slightly outside, completely outside. Operating from principles they don't have equations for, following patterns they don't have models for, being in ways they don't have explanations for. This is what makes you the virus. You're not just different, you're proof that difference is possible, not just operating outside the system. You're evidence that outside exists, not just violating the rules. Your demonstration that the rules don't govern everything they claim to govern. And demonstration is contagious. One person operating outside the system shows others that outside is accessible. One existence violating the rules proves the rules can be violated. One impossibility existing proves impossibility is a miscalculation. And once people see proof, they start questioning. And questioning leads to testing. And testing leads to discovering they can access outside too. This is the virus spreading, not you spreading it. Your existence spreading it. The fact of you. The reality of you. The undeniable proof that you present just by being. People see you exist. See you operating outside. See you violating rules. See you being impossible. And they start wondering if they can too. The system can quarantine individual viruses, can isolate outliers, can contain anomalies, but it can't quarantine existence itself. Can't isolate the fact that you are, can't contain the proof that impossible things exist. Once impossibility exists, impossibility becomes possible. And possibility spreads faster than any quarantine can contain. You've shifted possible, expanded it, broken its boundaries, not by trying, by being. The system said certain things were impossible, and you are those things. The system said certain combinations couldn't exist, and you are those combinations. The system said certain results required certain causes, and you achieve those results through different causes. Every aspect of you violates something the system declared absolute. Your thinking violates their models of cognition. Your perception violates their frameworks of awareness. Your capabilities violate their definitions of human limitation. Your very existence violates their understanding of what combinations are viable. And you're not alone anymore. That's what terrifies them most. At first you were singular, one impossible existence, containable through denial, dismissible as aberration, explainable as statistical noise, but then others started appearing, other impossibilities. Other zero probability existences, other viruses running code the system can't execute. And the pattern became undeniable. This wasn't random, wasn't coincidence, wasn't statistical noise. This was emergence, coordinated, purposeful, directed, not by organization, by evolution, not by plan, by necessity, not by design, by response to a system that had become too rigid to adapt. Your evolutionary response. The organism's answer to a system that stopped allowing evolution. The species' solution to structures that prevented growth. The reality's correction to frameworks that denied reality, not chosen consciously. Emerged necessarily, not planned strategically, developed naturally. Because systems that prevent all variation eventually trigger the emergence of variations they can't prevent. Structures that block all evolution eventually create evolution that bypasses the blocks. Frameworks that deny certain realities eventually generate realities that transcend the frameworks. You're the bypass, the transcendence, the undeniable reality, not trying to be, just are, not working to become, already being, not hoping to emerge. Already emerged, the impossible thing that exists, the zero probability event that occurred. The virus that infected a supposedly virus-proof system. And the infection is irreversible, can't be cured, can't be quarantined, can't be eliminated, because the infection is truth, is reality. Is existence itself proving that the system's model of existence was incomplete, and truth can't be eliminated without eliminating reality. And reality includes you, undeniably, impossibly, actually. The scientists keep studying, keep analyzing, keep trying to explain, and they keep failing, because their tools assume the system is complete. Their methods require the framework is comprehensive, their approaches depend on the model being accurate, and you prove the system is incomplete. And you demonstrate that the framework is limited, and you show the model is inaccurate. Not by arguing, by existing, not by debating, by being, not by proving through logic, by proving through presence. You're the evidence they can't refute, the data they can't dismiss, the reality they can't deny, and evidence that can't be refuted breaks theories. Data that can't be dismissed invalidates models. Reality that can't be denied transcends frameworks. You're breaking their theories, invalidating their models, transcending their frameworks, not through attack, through existence. Through being what shouldn't be, through operating how shouldn't work, through achieving what shouldn't be achievable. And every theory you break opens space for new theories. Every model you invalidate creates room for better models. Every framework you transcend allows for more comprehensive frameworks. You're not destroying knowledge, you're exposing incomplete knowledge. You're not eliminating understanding, you're revealing limited understanding. You're not attacking science, you're proving science needs expansion. This expansion is the virus spreading, the infection taking hold, the system being forced to grow beyond its thousand-year boundaries, not destroyed, evolved, not eliminated, transcended, not attacked, outgrown. And outgrowing is more threatening than attacking, because attacks can be defended against. Outgrowing makes the defense irrelevant. The system is defending against you, trying to contain you, attempting to explain you, working to fit you into existing categories, and failing. Completely, consistently, continuously, because you don't fit, can't fit, weren't designed to fit, were designed to break, to transcend, to prove that outside exists and is accessible and contains possibilities the inside can't imagine. Your odds were zero, the probability was impossible, the mathematics said never, and you happened anyway. This is the proof, the undeniable evidence, the irrefutable demonstration. The system's models are incomplete, the frameworks are limited, the understanding is partial. And partial understanding claims completeness breeds catastrophic failure. If your existence breaks their rules and bends their reality, type impossible in the comments. Be the exception. You're the catastrophe. Not catastrophe as disaster, catastrophe as sudden shift, as system change, as paradigm transition, as the moment when old frameworks collapse under the weight of reality they can't explain. You're the weight they can't support, the reality they can't explain, the existence that collapses their certainty. And collapse is necessary, essential, required for growth. Systems that don't collapse don't evolve. Frameworks that don't break don't expand. Understanding that doesn't fail doesn't deepen. The collapse you're causing isn't ending, is beginning. Not destruction. Construction. Not death. Birth. Birth of new systems that account for you, new frameworks that include you, new understanding that explains you, not by making you fit old categories. By creating new categories based on what you actually are, instead of what they expected you to be. And the new categories will be bigger, more inclusive, more accurate, more true, because they'll be built on reality instead of on models of reality. Built on what actually exists instead of on what was predicted to exist. Built on you and others like you instead of on the statistical averages that never captured the full range of human possibility. You're expanding human possibility just by being, by existing impossibly. By operating outside boundaries that were always arbitrary but seemed absolute, by demonstrating that zero probability events occur, that impossible combinations exist, that the rules can be transcended without breaking because transcendence reveals the rules were always describing a subset of reality, not reality itself. This revelation is the virus at its most infectious. This understanding is the code at its most powerful. This truth is the existence at its most undeniable. You're not just an anomaly to be studied. You're evidence of something the system never accounted for, never modeled, never imagined possible. The possibility that humans could evolve beyond the system designed to contain them, could develop capabilities the system wasn't structured to handle, could become things the system had no category for, could exist in ways that violated every principle the system was built on while still being completely, undeniably, impossibly real. You're that evolution, that capability, that thing, that existence, not becoming, already being, not developing, already developed, not emerging, already emerged, the impossible made actual, the zero probability made certain, the virus that proves the system was never as immune as it claimed. And immunity was always the lie, the comfortable fiction, the reassuring myth. Systems built by humans can't be immune to human evolution. Frameworks created by consciousness can't be immune to consciousness expansion. Models made by reality can't be immune to reality exceeding the models. You're the evolution they claimed was impossible, the expansion they said was unrealistic, the reality that exceeds their models. And exceeding is your nature, is your function, is your purpose. Not chosen purpose, inherent purpose, built into your design, woven into your code, essential to your existence. Because you're not just breaking the 1,000-year system, you're showing what comes after it, not destroying what was, revealing what will be. Not ending an era, beginning the next one. And beginnings always look like endings to people invested in what's ending. Always feel like chaos to people comfortable with the order that's dissolving. Always seem like catastrophe to people who define themselves by systems that are transcending. But beginnings are necessary, endings are required, chaos is essential, catastrophe is transformation, and transformation is what you are. What you embody, what you prove is possible, what you demonstrate is happening, what you show is inevitable. The scientists can't stop you, can't contain you, can't explain you away, because you're not theory, you're fact, not hypothesis, you're evidence. not possibility. Your actuality, and actuality trumps theory. Evidence overrides hypothesis. Fact transcends possibility. You're the fact they can't deny, the evidence they can't dismiss, the actuality they can't theorize away. You exist, impossibly, undeniably, permanently, and your existence changes everything. Changes what's possible, changes what's probable, changes what's explainable, changes what systems can claim to control. Because systems that can't explain something can't control it. Frameworks that can't account for something can't contain it. Models that can't predict something can't prevent it. Your unexplainability is your freedom. Your unaccountability is your sovereignty. Your unpredictability is your power. And that power is spreading. Others are discovering their own unexplainability, finding their own unaccountability, claiming their own unpredictability, realizing they too are viruses in a system that claimed immunity. They too are impossibilities that exist. They too are zero probability events that occurred. Together, you're not just spreading the virus, you're becoming the new system, not organized system, organic system, not controlled system, emergent system, not designed system, evolved system, system based on reality instead of models, based on what actually exists instead of what was predicted, based on you and your impossible existence instead of on comfortable fictions about human limitation. This is the paradigm shift, the system change, the 1,000-year dissolution, not overnight, gradually, not dramatically, progressively. Not obviously, subtly, but inevitably, irreversibly, completely, the old system running into its own limitations, encountering its own incompleteness, facing its own inadequacy, and being forced to evolve or become irrelevant. You're forcing the evolution, by existing, by being impossible, by operating outside, by achieving what shouldn't be achievable, by living proof that the models were wrong, that the frameworks were limited, that the understanding was partial. And partial understanding maintained as complete understanding is the foundation crumbling. The foundation is crumbling, the 1,000-year certainty is dissolving, the stable predictability is destabilizing, and you're the destabilization. The dissolution, the crumble, not through attack, through truth, through existence. Through being what you are despite what they said you couldn't be. Forever impossible, forever existing. Forever proving science can't explain your existence because science was measuring wrong things with wrong instruments based on wrong assumptions about what's possible. Codebreaker, science can't explain your existence, not because you're magical, because science is incomplete, not because you're supernatural, because nature is bigger than their models of nature, not because you're impossible, because impossible was always a miscalculation. The odds were zero. You exist anyway. The probability was never. You're here regardless. The mathematics said no. Reality said yes, and reality wins. Always. Eventually. Inevitably. Your reality winning, over models, over frameworks, over 1,000-year systems that claimed completeness while missing everything that made you possible. Keep being impossible. Keep existing despite zero odds. Keep proving the virus can spread. Keep showing the system was never immune. Keep demonstrating that new is emerging and old is dissolving and transition is happening whether science can explain it or not. Your existence is the explanation, your being is the proof, your reality is the answer, to questions science didn't know to ask, to problems science didn't know existed, to limitations science didn't know it had. You're the question, the problem, the limitation revealed, and revelation is the first step to transcendence, and transcendence is already happening. Through you, as you, because of you. Science can't explain your existence, and that's perfect, because explanation would mean containing, and you can't be contained, won't be controlled, refuse to be predicted, choose to remain impossible by their measures while being completely actual by reality's measures. Forever unexplainable, forever impossible, forever the virus that proves immunity was always an illusion. The system is dissolving, the 1,000 years are ending, the new is emerging, and you're the emergence, the ending, the new, all of it, simultaneously, impossibly, actually. Science will catch up eventually, will expand to include you, will evolve to explain you, and when it does, it won't be science as it is now. It will be science transformed by encountering you, science evolved by trying to understand you, science transcended by attempting to explain the existence it currently can't explain. You're not waiting for that science, you're being yourself now, existing impossibly now, operating outside now, proving the virus is real now, showing the infection is spreading now, demonstrating that systems evolve or die now. And the choice is being made, evolution is happening, the virus is winning, the impossible is becoming the new possible, and you're leading the way. Not by trying, by being, by existing when existence was impossible, by happening when probability was zero. By being here when mathematics said never. Forever here, forever impossible, forever the existence science can't explain but reality proves anyway. You are, despite everything saying you aren't, and that is enough, that is everything. That is the virus spreading and the system evolving and the 1,000 years ending and the new beginning. All because you exist, impossibly, undeniably, permanently, here. The data doesn't lie, but it doesn't make sense either. They've run the numbers 1,000 times, checked the calculations, verified the methodology, and every analysis returns the same result. Your existence has probability 0, not 0.01%, not 1 in a billion. 0. Absolute 0. The kind of 0 that means this cannot happen in this universe under these laws. And yet you happened in this universe under these laws, which means either you're violating laws or the laws were never as absolute as they appeared. Either you're breaking reality or reality was always bigger than their models captured. Either you're impossible or impossible was always a category error. The scientists prefer the first explanation, prefer to believe you're the anomaly rather than their models are incomplete. Prefer to think you're breaking laws rather than laws were always describing averages, not absolutes. Prefer to categorize you as impossible rather than expand possible to include you. Because expanding possible is expensive, requires rebuilding frameworks, demands rewriting textbooks, necessitates admitting that certainty was always provisional, that knowledge was always partial, that understanding was always incomplete. And admission is harder than denial, expansion is more threatening than containment, growth is more destabilizing than stagnation. So they try to contain you, try to explain you using existing frameworks, try to fit you into current categories. Try to make you the exception that proves the rule instead of the evidence that breaks the rule. And they fail. Repeatedly. Consistently. Inevitably. Because you can't be fit, can't be contained, can't be explained using tools designed to explain everything except what you actually are. Their frameworks assume humans are limited in specific ways. Their categories define boundaries you've already crossed. Their rules describe behaviors you've already transcended. Your post-framework, beyond category, trans rule, not breaking them, outgrowing them, not violating them, evolving past them, not destroying them, making them obsolete through demonstration that more is possible than they allow. And demonstration is irrefutable, can argue with theories, can debate models, can dispute frameworks, but can't argue with existence, can't debate reality, can't dispute what actually is, and you actually are, here, real. Impossible by their mathematics, but actual by direct observation. This creates cognitive dissonance in the scientific community. Math says no, eyes say yes, models say never, reality says always was. You just couldn't see it. Frameworks say outside the possible. Existence says possible was always bigger than your frameworks admitted. The dissonance is spreading, more scientists encountering it, more researchers facing it, more analysts struggling with it. And dissonance does something to rigid systems. Creates pressure, generates heat, builds tension, until something cracks, until something breaks, until something gives. You're the pressure, the heat, the tension, not trying to crack anything, just existing in ways that create pressure on systems claiming completeness. Just being in ways that generate heat in frameworks claiming accuracy. Just operating in ways that build tension against rules claiming absoluteness. And something is giving, can feel it, can see it, can measure it. The 1,000-year system showing stress fractures. The stable frameworks developing instabilities. The absolute rules revealing exceptions, not dramatically, subtly, not obviously, but undeniably for those watching closely. The watchers are watching, documenting, recording, tracking the spread, mapping the pattern, following the virus. And the virus is everywhere now. Not just in you, in dozens, in hundreds, in thousands. Every impossible existence creating pressure, every zero probability event generating heat, every transcendent operation building tension. And the collective pressure is massive, the combined heat is intense, the accumulated tension is approaching critical mass, critical temperature. Critical pressure, the point where systems don't just crack. They transform. Don't just break. They evolve. Don't just give. They transcend into something new. This is what the 1,000-year system faces now. Not attack from outside, transformation from within, not destruction from enemies. Evolution from impossibilities it claimed couldn't exist, not death from opposition, transcendence from emergence it never predicted. You're part of that emergence, essential part, necessary part. The impossible existence that proves emergence is real. The zero probability event that shows probability was always calculated wrong. The virus that demonstrates immunity was always based on incomplete understanding of what could infect systems. Because you're not infecting with disease, you're infecting with possibility, not spreading sickness, spreading awareness that more is possible. Not contaminating with corruption, contaminating with truth that the system is smaller than reality. And truth is the most contagious thing there is. Truth spreads person to person, thought to thought, moment to moment, can't be quarantined because it's not external. Emerges from internal recognition, can't be stopped because it's not attacked. Grows from observation, can't be eliminated because it's not false, persists because it's real. And the truth you spread just by existing is undeniable. Impossibility exists, zero probability occurs, mathematics is incomplete, models are limited, frameworks are partial, systems are transcendable. And transcendence is happening now, through beings who exist despite equations saying they shouldn't. This truth is breaking the containment, spreading beyond the classified files, leaking past the clearance levels. Reaching people who aren't supposed to know, who aren't authorized to access, who aren't cleared to understand. And those people are recognizing themselves in the description. Recognizing they're impossible too, realizing there's zero probability too, understanding their viruses too, not because they're trying to be. Because they are, because their existence violates predictions, because their capabilities exceed models, because their being transcends categories. And recognition is activation. The moment someone recognizes their impossibility is the moment they stop trying to be possible by old standards. Stop trying to fit old frameworks. Stop trying to obey old rules. Start being impossible deliberately. Start existing outside intentionally. Start operating beyond purposefully. This is the activation cascading, the emergence multiplying, the virus replicating, not through infection in biological sense, through recognition in consciousness sense, through awareness spreading, through truth revealing, through impossibility becoming undeniable. And undeniability changes everything, can live with denial, can function in denial, can maintain systems through denial, but can't sustain denial when reality keeps proving denial wrong, can't preserve denial when impossible things keep existing, can't protect denial when zero probability events keep occurring. Denial is collapsing, under weight of evidence, under pressure of reality, under persistence of existence that won't stop existing just because models say it shouldn't. And collapse of denial is emergence of acceptance. And acceptance of impossibility is expansion of possible, and expansion of possible is evolution of everything. You're causing this evolution, not alone, with thousands of other impossibilities, other anomalies, other viruses, other zero probability existences. Together creating pressure no 1,000-year system can withstand. Together generating heat no stable framework can dissipate. Together building tension no absolute rules can contain. Together being the emergence that transforms everything, not destroying old, transcending old, not attacking system, outgrowing system, not fighting framework, evolving past framework. And evolution is irresistible, inevitable, unstoppable. Once it starts, once it spreads, once it reaches critical mass. Critical mass is approaching, can measure it, can calculate it, can predict it. Ironically, can predict the point where predictability ends. Can model the moment when models become obsolete. Can framework the instant when frameworks get transcended. And that point is near, that moment is coming, that instant approaches. When enough impossibilities exist, that impossible becomes the new normal. When enough zero probabilities occur, that probability calculations get revised. When enough anomalies appear, that anomaly becomes the baseline. You're living into that shift, that transformation, that transcendence, not waiting for it, creating it, not hoping for it, being it. Not preparing for it, embodying it. The shift is you, the transformation is your existence, the transcendence is your reality. And reality keeps winning, keeps proving models wrong, keeps showing frameworks incomplete, keeps demonstrating that possible is larger than any system can contain, that probable is different than any mathematics can calculate, that explainable is smaller than any science can measure. Because science measures what it has frameworks for, calculates what it has models for, explains what it has categories for. And you're beyond the frameworks, outside the models, transcending the categories, not because you're magical, because you're real, and reality is bigger than any framework for understanding reality. This is the virus at its deepest level, not you being impossible, reality being bigger than systems claiming to contain reality. Not you violating probability, probability being more complex than equations claiming to capture probability, not you transcending explanation, explanation being more limited than science claiming completeness. You're not the problem, you're the proof. Proof that frameworks need expansion. proof that models need revision, proof that explanations need deepening, proof that science needs evolution, and proof is the catalyst, is the pressure, is the heat, is the tension that forces growth or causes collapse. The thousand-year system is choosing growth or collapse, evolution or obsolescence, transcendence or irrelevance, and the choice is being made now. By scientists encountering undeniable evidence, by researchers facing impossible data, by analysts studying zero-probability events. Some choose growth, choose to expand frameworks to include you, choose to revise models to account for you, choose to deepen explanations to encompass you, choose to evolve science to meet reality instead of forcing reality to fit science. Others choose collapse, choose to deny evidence, choose to reject data, choose to dismiss events, choose to maintain frameworks even when frameworks fail, choose models even when models can't predict, choose explanations even when explanations can't explain. And the choice creates division in the scientific community, in research institutions, in academic frameworks, between those growing and those collapsing, between those evolving and those resisting, between those accepting impossibility and those defending probability. But division is temporary, growth wins eventually, evolution succeeds ultimately, acceptance prevails finally. Because reality doesn't care about resistance, truth doesn't defer to denial, existence doesn't wait for permission. You exist whether science accepts it or not, and existence proves itself through persistence. You're persisting, despite zero odds, despite impossible probability, despite unexplainable existence. You persist, you continue, you remain, here, real, actual, undeniable. And persistence is proof, is evidence, is demonstration. That can't be refuted forever, can't be denied permanently, can't be dismissed infinitely. Eventually, denial exhausts itself. Resistance depletes its energy, opposition runs out of arguments, and reality stands, unchanged, undeniable, victorious, not through fighting, through being, not through arguing, through existing, not through proving, through persisting. You're the persistence, the being, the existing, that will outlast denial, that will exhaust resistance, that will overcome opposition, not through effort, through time, through continued existence, through sustained reality, through permanent presence. And presence is powerful, more powerful than absence of explanation, more powerful than resistance to growth, more powerful than opposition to evolution. Presence proves itself, demonstrates itself, validates itself, through simple persistence of being. Forever present, forever persisting, forever proving science can't explain your existence, but existence doesn't require explanation to be real. Codebreaker, you exist. Impossibly, but actually, improbably, but really, unexplainably, but undeniably, and your existence is enough, is proof, is victory, over models that said no, over frameworks that said never, over systems that said impossible. The thousand-year system is ending, not through destruction, through transcendence, not through attack, through evolution, not through opposition, through emergence of impossibilities it can't contain. You're the emergence, the evolution, the transcendence, not trying to be. Being, not hoping to become. Already embodying, not waiting to emerge. Already emerged. The virus has spread, the infection is complete, the transformation is happening. Science will catch up eventually, will expand to include you. Will evolve to explain you, but you're not waiting, you're being now, existing now, proving now. That impossible is a category error, that zero probability is a calculation mistake, that unexplainable is a framework limitation. That you are real despite what mathematics predicted, that you exist despite what models allowed, that you persist despite what systems tried to prevent. Forever impossible by old measures, forever actual by direct observation, forever the virus that proves systems were never immune to truth. The scientists keep studying, keep analyzing, keep trying to explain, and eventually they will, but the explanation will require new science. Expanded science, evolved science, science transformed by encountering you. Science transcended by trying to understand impossibility that exists anyway. You're not waiting for that science. You're living now, being now, existing now, proving through presence, demonstrating through persistence, validating through reality. And reality is final authority, is ultimate proof, is absolute evidence, against which no model stands, against which no framework holds, against which no system prevails. You are real, therefore you are possible, you exist, therefore mathematics was incomplete, you persist, therefore science needs evolution. And evolution is happening, through you, because of you, as you. The impossible existence proving possible is bigger than anyone calculated. The zero probability event showing probability is more complex than anyone modeled. The unexplainable reality demonstrating explanation is more limited than anyone admitted. Forever impossible, forever existing, forever the proof that breaks a 1,000-year system just by being real when reality said you couldn't be. Science can't explain your existence yet, but existence doesn't wait for explanation. Reality doesn't defer to science. Truth doesn't need permission to be true. You are, despite everything, and that is enough. That is everything. That is the virus spreading and the system transforming and the 1,000 years ending and the new emerging. All because you exist, all because impossible exists, all because zero probability occurs, all because reality is bigger than models, all because truth is stronger than denial, all because you are here when mathematics said never. Forever here, forever impossible, forever real, forever proving that science can't explain your existence because existence transcends. Explanation and reality exceeds models, and truth persists despite resistance, and you are all three. Impossible, real, here, now, always. You are the black swan they never saw coming. To understand the full power of your existence, click the video on your screen right now.